Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On this Sunday morning, it truly is a gift to be able to sit here and put a few thoughts together to share with you about the emergency that we have to change our system and society so that the people amongst us that are alive today will get a chance perhaps to enjoy some of their life because we woke up. You see, ladies and gentlemen, in order for us to be acceptable to the message that I bring to you, we must understand that there truly is a power that exists that's outside of man. I realize we've been taught, structured to believe that the system of government is the only power outside of our parents that have control over humankind. And many of us have never given our parents any respect. And when it comes down to government, then whatever we can get away with, we try to get away with it. Why? Because it's essential for us to meet some of our requirements in our lives. And that has been open to us. And even though that there might be laws to prevent these type of actions, the need for that freedom is so desired that we're willing to take the chance. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all because of man. But when we think about the real power, the power that this earth that we ride on, sit on, and live on, that produces our food and clothing and shelter and everything that we require for our continued existence. It's a part of a natural resource. Natural resources being those things that are here and they naturally reproduce themselves as need dictates or as designed, and they don't need any input from you or I, from anyone. It's a natural order of things that includes so many things, my friends. It includes the air. Now we know man has nothing to do with that, so there is a power that's superior to man that made man and required man to need the oxygen in the air to survive and provided for that. There's no men around here that can think like that. I mean, they can do a lot of thinking, but not that kind of thinking. They require natural gas, these sunlight, the soil and the water, all of these things, natural, indicating man has nothing to do with it. Birds and fish and even the plants that we eat, nothing to do with. Copper, helium. I mean, we can go on and on and on and even break them down into types of renewables or non-renewables or living fossil fuels, the kinds of things like this, ladies and gentlemen, that all indicate that there is a power. We can't see the source behind this, except we see this, and we know it exists. And so we have to, without doubt, know it exists at the hands of another. Whatever, we don't know, but it's powerful enough to do what it does, and we know that it had nothing to do with us. And it has us aligned in such a way that it requires certain substances for survival that are common and provided for that to be met and allow for us, each of us who would benefit from it, to participate in the creative process. My friends, I'm just telling you about the way of love, the same power that created the trees that I can see right now. You can't. The rain that's beginning to fall, that same power that's able to do that, prepared it in such a way that you and I can live as heavenly, divine. And yet we succumb ourselves to people, to humankind, who always have an ulterior motive for anything that they do and always need some support. And so they come up with some kind of scheme, whether it's convincing us to support a campaign, giving X number of dollars while they have checked on another block that if we sign this, we can not only give money once, but we can continue to give it as long as this statement requires. Just schemes when people are in need of something like gasoline. They want to gouge on the prices. Or when people haven't been using cars And now they want to use them. Now the prices for a rental car has jumped from $30 to over $200 or $300 a day. What is that all about? You see, that's just taking advantage of the people. What does that mean? That means that people who got money can get a car. That means that people who don't have money can't rent a car. Is that fair? What kind of God supports anything like that? Mankind God. They're the ones. Mankind God. They're the ones that support lead poisoning or whatever kind of chemical poisoning in water, such as that was happening in Michigan, allowing people to get poisoned and have all kind of sickness and diseases from what these elements, what they're getting from this sickness, diseases from this water. And yet, it's acceptable rather than fix it because they lose money in fixing. This is man's response to humankind. This is man when you have a president of the United States who witnessed how certain people have been abused and driven to have a certain type of conduct. And then they go by and deal with this by taking advantage of it, by putting dope all throughout the community, making money, and catching the people that they've given the drugs to sell and putting them in jail, and then coming up with some crime bill that 3 strikes you out, taking the people off the streets forever, talking about this is how we solve our problems. This is man, ladies and gentlemen, mankind. They say in the state of Minnesota, they got 13% of the population that are black, and 63% of the people that are in prison are in jails. Now, what does that say, ladies and gentlemen? That says that the systems have failed the people, especially those of you who are of color. And I'm not going to be in church today telling you about Jesus Christ was the Son of God and he died on the cross that you might be saved when you are locked up in prisons because you're being abused by a system right here on this earth, and the people who are telling you about going to heaven can't tell you the truth because they don't know the truth about the hell that they're in right here on this earth. They need somebody to let them know that they've been hoodwhipped, that the same God that's supposed to have heaven on the other side of life is the same God that created heaven on this side of life. But a thief stole it on this side, and if you allow a thief to steal it on this side, you will allow a thief to steal it anywhere. So you better wake up today. And if you think that you're going to heaven, you better start creating it right now so you'll know what it looks like. You'll know what it takes to keep it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thought I'd take a minute and tell you about some stuff that you should perhaps consider. You think about the Democrats trying to alter some of the stuff that the Republicans have whipped down on the people. And the Republicans don't like it. Some of the corporations have decided that they should take a side with the liberal for a minute. And the politicians are telling them, the Republican conservative politicians telling them to keep their hands off of politics. But keep on giving the money. We got your back. When they talk about infrastructure, they're talking about, we're talking about building roads and the things that we can consider bridges as infrastructure, where the money can go again to corporations and big business, while the smaller man just making enough to deal with these gouging prices. Nothing changes. And see, the Democrats are purporting that they want to make sure that some of this niceness is extended down to the middle class, maybe even drip some down to the poor. These are the things that the Democrats are trying to do, and you got Democrats who are standing against it. Democrats like Manchin. I mean, what I talk to you about God stuff is 1,000 times better than any of the stuff that these guys are talking about. And here you got somebody trying to talk down on that and calling themselves a Democrat. Man, let me tell you something. You would think if you had any compassion for the people, I'm talking to Joe Manchin, if you had any kind of compassion for the people, you would go along with the Democrats on what they're trying to do so it can bless the people, even if Virginia tells you to stay at home. They don't want to have anything to do with you again. Stay at home and take advantage of the lifestyles that have been changed because what you are man enough to do. But to keep your job, you'll make the nation's people suffer? What does that say about you? Here again, it says everything about mankind. And it makes God look really good. So, ladies and gentlemen, think about it. I mean, when you start thinking about it, and I want you to remember, thinking about God's way of love is going outside of yourself, loving yourself to the max, till you want the best for yourself. And the way you can have the best for yourself is to not have a threat from anyone. And the way you can prevent yourself from having a threat from anyone is by being a benefit to everyone. They and their lives is blessed because of you, one another. So you have nothing to fear. Nothing to fear at all. Think about that. And you will come up with a way to switch from this crap we're going through every day to step right into the future. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus. I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your time. Until next time, goodbye.